Welcome to another episode of Masterpiece Theater with your host, Jerry and Cody. Yeah, crap. Can't do it. I can't do it without a smile on my face. All right. Hello, all, and welcome to the first episode of the Quantum Perspective. It is a video-based review for stuff that we watch on TV. So I just want to introduce myself, or I'll introduce my co-host here. This is my son Cody.
Hello.
I'm Jerry. You've actually seen me on my other videos, Jerry's Cosplay Minutes, and also my costume retrospectives. You see both of us on there. Today is something a little different. We're branching away from more of the cosplay world and venturing into a review. Like I said, once again, we actually like watching various things on TV. The more of the sci-fi and superhero-esque genre, and what we're doing today is one of those. We are actually reviewing episode 1 for The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, showing on Disney Plus, and it's actually a very interesting series. And let's get into episode 1.
Yeah. Now
this is still a work in progress, so don't hit us too hard. I'm actually outside of my porch. It's a beautiful day out here, and so I'm hoping that some of the background noise doesn't get us too much.
There's a few birds around. Cat might meow once or twice. Yeah.
Yeah, I got 3 cats, so you might just see them out here. I see 2, right in eye shot, and one of them's over here. So, anyways, without further ado, let's get into this. All right, I want to start off. This is episode 1 of The Falcon Winter Soldier. And I want to start off with some callbacks, if you want, Easter eggs to comics versus the movie. Just to let you know, I'm more of a comic-esque person. Growing up, I've read a lot of comics. Cody is, his fill for the MCU is mostly from movies and internet and whatnot. So these Easter eggs are actually, kind of interesting.
Hey!
Yeah. Sometimes these cats don't really get they irritate each other. Let's put it that way. So, all right. So the first Easter egg from episode 1, Lieutenant Jaquan Torres. Now, that name comes up. He was actually Falcon's partner, and obviously in the first episode. In the comics, he is actually, when Falcon becomes Captain America in the comics, he turns into the new Falcon. So let's see how that plays out in this series. I'm actually kind of interested if they're going to, go that route here.
Very well could.
Red Wing. Now, in the comics, he was an actual bird with psychic abilities and whatnot.
Or some sort of tech.
Yeah.
Something like that.
So that's a nice callback. George's Batroc. Now, we first saw him in Captain America Winter Soldier. He was he was kind of a throwaway, a B-rate character. In the movie, in the comics, he actually is he's a B character in the comics too. Mm-hmm. But he has a more of a fleshed out background in the comics. So it's kind of, that Easter egg was just a callback to the Winter Soldier. It was when Cap jumps on, or he flies, and I think he jumps onto a ship, jumps out of a plane.
Yeah.
At the very beginning. So The next one is Flag Smashers. Now, in the comics, it was just a single person, and I want to tell you, in the comics, they were, he had this cape and these gauntlets, and it was really, really bad. But in the series, they're making it into a group of people, so, and you hear me, we're going to talk about that shortly. Well, and I have some notes here. Sam gives Cap's shield to the Smithsonian.
Yes.
Okay. Now, when he does that, and he does a speech, off to his left is a poster of Captain America in his costume. And that was a kind of a nice callback to On Your Left. From the, from the, was it the Winter Soldier?
Yes.
Yes. So that's a nice little, it's not necessarily a comic callback, but it's a series callback. Okay, the Cap exhibit at the Smithsonian, they have the final mission listed. And I mean, this is all the exhibits in there, or all the individual things. And they have one called The Final Mission, which was Return to the Infinity Stones.
Yep.
There's also a list of the Vanished in there. You do see that as Rhodey and Sam walk through, you see the list, and they're constantly playing that list up. And it's the Vanished from the Thanos snap. And then there's the legendary comic book, the 1941 comic book where Captain America punches Hitler. It's actually sitting in that exhibit. That's a kind of a nice homage, so. Bucky's list, all right? The list he keeps in his book. You remember that book?
Yep.
One of the names was Rostov. It was the Red Barbarian from the comics. I'm not really too familiar with that character itself. He had Zemo, reference to helmet Zemo, in there. Kaminsky, which is a nod to Len Kaminsky. He was a Marvel comic writer for Winter Soldier. So that name appears in there. I wonder how they're going to work that.
Yeah.
So. Another reference is Paul and Darlene, which were the names on Sam and Sarah's parents on the boat. It was listed right across the boat, and it's kind of a nice homage that they're keeping to that legacy, if you want to say. And December 16th, 1991.
The day Howard and
can't think what his wife's name is.
I don't know.
I'll probably end up putting it somewhere up here or so.
Tony's parents.
Yes.
Howard Stark, and for some reason I want to throw out Martha. I don't think that's right.
Everybody's name is, all the superheroes' name was mother's name is Martha. But anyways, what happened? What happened on that day?
Bucky killed him.
Yeah. Pardon me, I got to wet my whistle. Yes, and that was kind of a reference to Civil War when Tony finally figured out what who killed his parents and so on. We find out that the parents were killed by the Winter Soldier there. So now, that was it for my Easter eggs. Now what we're going to do is we're gonna go into some keys here, and we'll talk about it. But Trock's small cameo, okay? He had this cameo, and he had a small little cameo in the Winter Soldier, and I think he is a B character, and you heard me talking about that, but I think he actually is a very interesting character that they need to really flesh out more in this series. This is not necessarily a Captain America series.
No.
It's a Falcon Winter Soldier series, so, I mean, I don't want to call them B characters, but Falcon in the comics he started off as a B character. So why don't we get some of these lesser known people in these series and kind of flesh them out a little bit more?
Yeah.
I mean, we did that for WandaVision. I mean, that's another series that we should, watch and review. But, they have had some B characters in there that they fleshed out, and like Agent Wu from there and all that.
Yeah.
I mean, he was a Ant-Man character, but he was a B in there. You didn't really know too much about him. Now you know a lot about him. So.
Well, that could add more to like Sword or anything like that.
Yeah. With Batroc, I'm wondering what his connection is. I hope they don't just done and a one done and that's it, and throw the character away. So I hope they don't do that. I hope he continues on. So now the Flag Smashers MO is the world. Well, right now the world is too overpopulated after the Hulk snap. Let's call it the Hulk snap and Thanos snap, because the Hulk brought everybody back, and that was kind of the MO with getting the Infinity Stones.
Yeah.
Now, when everybody came back, all of a sudden, the world became a small place, because now you got 4 billion people coming back, and the Flag Smashers liked it better when people were gone, and instead of pushing people out, and they what they did is, my take on the whole thing is they push people into camps, and it's not necessarily the people that came back.
Some of them were, but
the people that came back, all of a sudden they start getting their crap back, and they push people into the gutters type deal. So this is what the Flag Smashers MO is. They don't like what's going on. They want to have a one government deal. That's kind of like my take on it.
Yeah.
So. But you heard me refer to the Flag Smashers once again, and I just want to harken back to that in the comics he was just a one anti-hero instead of a group, and I think that they could flesh out the story even more if it's a group versus one person. What's this one person? They're gonna they spend 6 episodes chasing this one person.
Yeah.
It
doesn't work.
No, it doesn't. So, okay, let's talk about the Power Broker. You've heard a reference to it in this episode, and we need to watch a little bit more to figure out what's going on, who this person is, and reference, because the Power Broker in the comics was a single person, but what it did is this person gave abilities to, it's kind of like strength to the highest bidder type deal.
Yeah.
You get $3 million, here, we're going to give you super strength, or we're going to give you regenerative powers or something. They're going to give you something. So, but I'm actually kind of interested in seeing who the Power Broker is. So, well, why don't I just touch upon this very briefly? I know that being Cody's being 16, not really paying attention too much to what the economy is doing now or so, and following politics right now. You should be worrying about what's on TV and who's on Facebook or something like that. But I just want to touch upon the economic problems after the Hulk snap. Well, actually, it was economic problems after the Thanos snap too, and more so after the Hulk snap.
Yeah.
They are, the Thanos snap. All of a sudden, 4 billion people, whatever, disappeared.
Yeah, like 3.5 or something.
Yeah, disappeared, and now They came back. Well, when they originally disappeared, all of a sudden now it's like, oh my God, what has happened here? You don't have all your workers and factories and stuff like that. We see it now during this pandemic that we're going through. You hear everybody talking about it. This pandemic that we're going through, that all of a sudden a ton of people got sick and factories closed down, and they couldn't keep up with the supply and demand. Well, you're going to have that same thing here, because now all of a sudden you're 4 billion people less or whatever. So you're crashing the market, and now all of a sudden 4 billion people come back after 5 years. What's happening? No homes, because everybody's congregated together, fearing the snap and all that. Now all of a sudden you got more people here. The stimulus, the economic stimulus behind it. You have to feed these people, and you have to find places for them to live, and have to find jobs and all that. It's really being a pisser. But we see where I'm coming from, where I'm going with this is, we see that this economic stimulus, has an effect on everybody, including Sam and Sarah, where they went to the bank to get a loan to help with the boat and whatnot. Sam was gone for 5 years. He was part of the snap.
Yeah.
So he has no income, the bank people are saying, what did you do in the last 5 years? Hello, I was gone. Snapped out of existence, but there's nothing here for the last 5 years. They can't take that, for fact. So, where, we do see that, and we see what the downside to what was happening. The downside, people lost family, but the downside also, and how we feel comfortable with monies and all that. We see how that's happening.
Yeah.
So I don't want to get too much into it, because that's a political point, and I really don't like doing politics. So, all right, John Walker. Who the hell is this guy? He's a no-name.
Yeah.
I mean, the Department of Defense, they pushed Sam to put the shield in the Smithsonian, and Sam voluntarily gave it up. And then they re-gifted it to this guy. Who the heck is this guy? Does he have abilities?
We'll see.
It's like he comes out of nowhere. He looks like a person bought a Captain America costume and went to Comic-Con.
Yeah.
And John Walker in the comics, and I'm not going to get too deep into this, because we're probably going to find out more about this guy. Obviously we're going to find out more about him later on. But I know in the comics he was a U.S. agent, and he wasn't a really nice guy in the comics. So I'm wondering how they're going to deal with this. And his first interaction was kind of smug to me. I didn't like his first interaction. So, but I'm wondering if he has abilities. My Cap had abilities.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, that gets me to the end of my talking points for episode 1. I mean, there was a lot of things that happened there. There was some things with Bucky, being he was still in a counseling session or so, trying to deal with what happened, to him, and
because his brain went through a blunder.
Yeah. And I mean, I guess it's order for his release or his pardon, he had to do this. So I think it's right. He's doing some good. At least he's getting help for this. But we'll see what's going on with his head. what's up with this list that he's putting together and stuff like that. And like the doctor said, she wanted to see his phone. And she's like, I'm the only one that you've called
in the past week.
You know, she's like, you need to get out, make some friends. You know, and it's not his typical. So,
no,
you know, getting out, making some friends. But we do see that he does have a friend there.
Yeah.
You know, the older gentleman. I can't think of what his name is off the top of my head.
I sounded Oriental.
Yeah, but you know, we see him befriending him. You know, talking about pinochle and stuff like that. You know, so.
Yeah.
But
Bucky's 110 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah. So, but anyways, do you have anything you want to throw on this through episode 1? I think I've done a pretty good job with addressing it. Now, closing out this, I do have some general questions that, you know, well, you know, kind of food for thought going into episode 2 was, who is John Walker? You know, we will eventually figure this out, you know, and it will be fleshed out, but who's John Walker? And kind of the pink elephant in the room, if you want to say, will Sam use the super soldier serum? Is there a possibility you think he might?
If someone found a way to replicate it, yeah.
Yeah. 'Cause, I mean, we're seeing that these people have some sort of abilities that you know, there are some people out there with some abilities, and we're not sure exactly what that happened, or what's going on with them. So, and what happened to Steve Rogers? Are we going to actually see that fleshed out? You know, is he? Did he die? You know, Torres says, is he up on the moon? You know, so I don't know.
Given his age,
yeah.
technically, he should be 90. He should be 96 or 100.
Should be 106.
That's it. Yeah.
He's probably the same age as Bucky.
Yeah. Yeah, it should be.
You know, so.
Yeah, he should be 106 when you saw him at the end of Infinity War. Endgame. There we go.
Right.
So, there's a good chance.
So, yeah. But that's it. I mean, that's just 3 general questions going into this. Like I said, that we're still trying to work this whole thing out. How we want to do this. I think we're going to deal with it on a case-by-case basis. But I feel good for this episode. Unless you have anything else, no. I think we're going to let these good people go. Yeah. I want to say thank you for stopping by. Thank you for listening in on this. Please, no hate mail. Sorry, but there are some facts here that I try to do my best getting some of these facts being factual here. So if there's anything I got wrong, please, but anyways. All right, that's it for this first episode, and I want to say thank you. Why don't you go back to my page, my YouTube page here, give a subscribe and a like, and I do have a few things coming from there, Jerry's Cosplay Minutes, and along with our costume retrospectives. So, all right, I'm Jerry.
I'm Cody.
And I want to say, have yourself a wonderful week. Thanks.